Hi, Dr. Minkoff here, LifeWorks Wellness Center. I want to talk to you today about one of my favorite topics and treatments. And this topic is headed as peptides. Now, what is a peptide? You've all heard of proteins. You've probably all heard of amino acids. So amino acids are basic building blocks. There's 22 of them used in the body to make proteins. Okay, so you could think of amino acids as an alphabet. So like in the English language, there's 26 letters. You can put the letters together in all different combinations and lengths, and you can get 1,000,000 words or however many words there are in the English language. It's the same thing with amino acids. There's 22 of them. You can mix them together in all different lengths. Some amino acids are just by themselves, and some have combinations which are thousands of amino acids together long. Now, a peptide is a group of amino acids that is up to 30 amino acids in length. So you got 30 of them together, so the word would be 30 letters long. If it's above 30, it's considered a protein. Now, some proteins have thousands of amino acids, but peptides are considered to be under 30. And so these are actually messenger molecules. Our bodies make these things. And so these peptides are made, gives a cell direction. Now, early on in my career, probably 20 years ago, I had a patient who was the bodyguard for one of the big shahs in Saudi Arabia. And he looked like a brick. So he was probably 5'8", probably 260 pounds, looked like a square brick of just solid muscle. He was intimidating as all could get out. And he would come in here for treatment. And he would spend 9 months in Saudi Arabia as a bodyguard. And then he'd have a couple months off and he'd come back here and do his thing. So he came in here one day and he said to me, I said, how do you get a body like this? Like, this is like impossible. And he said, well, I'm taking these peptides. Okay, so I'd never heard of peptides at that point. He said, yeah, there's peptides. Oh, where do you get them? He said, well, chemical companies make them. And they're not for human use. But we get them and we use them. He said, you should be using them in your patients because they really work. And I said, I can't use these in my patients. They're not approved, they're illegal, blah, blah, blah. I can't do that. He said, okay. So then probably 7 or 8 years ago, I go to a seminar where somebody's doing some lectures or a course on peptides. And I'm like, oh, this is what this guy was talking about. Now they're legal. Now we can get them through pharmacists. And some of them are even registered as drugs. And there's a whole bunch of them. There's probably 60 or 70 of them, and they all have different things. Some of them make your growth hormone turn on. Some of them boost your immune system. Some of them help inflammation go down. And these are available, and there are forms of it where you can take it by mouth. The most common form is that you give yourself a little injection, and they're just quite amazing. So in most people that I see, they have a problem with immune balance. They have a problem with inflammation. Often they have a problem with memory or with nervous system function. Sometimes they have a chronic infection. They have Lyme disease or Epstein-Barr virus or one of these things. And there's peptides that will activate these areas, and you can really feel it. So we have these for patients in the clinic, and depending on what the condition is, I almost always prescribe 2 or 3 or 4 of them, depending on what's needed by the patient, to give the whole system a boost. It moves it forward. So there can be better living through chemistry if the chemistry is non-toxic, and these are non-toxic. These are natural substances which can now be synthesized in a laboratory and given to you, and the body doesn't know the difference between these and the ones that the bodies have been making. It just turns out that with aging and with our body deterioration, we're just not making enough of them to actually really be active. And so when we give them from the outside, you can really see a difference. And people come back and say, wow, those peptides really make a difference. My wife was saying, like, she was like, memory-wise, she was like, hey, this is a little bit like sometimes I walk in a room and I can't remember why I walked in there. So there's a particular peptide called cerebrolysin. This activates new nerve cell growth in the brain and nervous system. And she did a month of cerebrolysin. She said, I'm fixed on that. Like, that really worked. So these are available. They're very powerful. They're very safe. We see no reactions from them. They don't react with any medications. And that if you come to LifeWorks, you're probably going to get advised to take some of these peptides. And sometimes we do them for the first couple of months to give people a boost. And then they may be staggered, so you do them for a month or you take off. Sometimes people reach a stable state where they don't need them. But they're very good, and they really help. And I take them, and I just wouldn't be without them. Okay? So that's peptides. And if your practitioner doesn't mention it to you, be sure you mention it to them. Okay? Hope this helps.